Sigma's manager Kazuto Yamaki said that Micro Four Thirds is in decline, or the sales are going rapidly down. What did he actually say? The original interview was in, now I have to check my notes, was in Photorend, a French photographic magazine / online photographic site. And it was in French, and I translated the part where they were talking about Micro Four Thirds with Google Translate. So I hope the translator is accurate. But it usually is accurate enough to get the idea what he actually said. Hi, it's Peter here. And before I quote the first quote from Yamaki, I have to say a disclaimer. I am an OM System ambassador, but OMDS does not tell me to do videos. They don't even know what videos I'm going to make and when. So everything I say is my own opinion, based on the article and my knowledge of OMDS and Micro Four Thirds system. But let's start with the first quote, and I quote and read from my notes. Yamaki said, "We still have several references that we'll keep in our catalog. However, we are not planning to design new Micro Four Thirds optics at this time. Perhaps because of this, the demand for this format is decreasing very sharply, and therefore it is quite difficult for us to develop completely new optics for this ecosystem." Well, Yamaki says that demand for Micro Four Thirds lens is decreasing very sharply. Does it mean in general, or does it mean when about Sigma? Is Sigma selling less and less Micro Four Thirds lenses? Most likely that's the case. If I'm not wrong, the last Micro Four Thirds lens that Sigma released was the 16mm back in 2017. Not really sure if the 56mm f1.4 was after that. But however, Sigma hasn't really been active on Micro Four Thirds for years. And that could be, of course, one cause that people are not buying the lenses. They don't know about them. And even though they are really good lenses, I've used a few of them and they're really sharp and nice, and they have a reasonably low price too. So they're very competitive lenses in the system. But in recent years, the Micro Four Thirds user, especially the OM System users, the profile of a photographer has changed quite drastically. Most who use now OM1s and OM5s and EM1X, that's actually when it started, they are concentrating on wildlife photographers, outdoor photographers, and macro photographers. And Sigma doesn't have lenses for that genre or that niche at all. The 56, I think it's a 30 and a 16mm. They are not for those people. And those people need really good weather sealing and all that. And Sigma lenses has some weather sealing, like splash proof and stuff like that, but they're not fully weather sealed. I bet that's the simple reason why Sigma is not selling Micro Four Thirds lenses. And to make one from scratch would be so expensive and too risky to do. So that's why they are not selling or making new lenses. Simple as that. And that has nothing to do with the Micro Four Thirds being in decline or in a free fall. Then the second thing what he said was, here it is. Then Yamaki said, "But I think the Micro Four Thirds has many advantages, especially its compactness. Personally, I really like this system, but currently the trend is clearly in favor of full frame alongside APS-C," and then in slash, or in, what do you call it? Which is also in decline, by the way, he says. Well, I can see why Sigma is selling a lot of full frame lenses. They're probably sending a lot of lenses for Sony cameras, for the full frame E-mount. And if you look at the prices for those, I just had one example, 24 to 70. The Sigma version is half the price as Sony. I'm not saying that the Sigma is as good lens. I don't know. It could be. I have no idea. But I bet Sony lens is not twice as good. And if we think about at the price range 1200 and 2400, that's a huge amount, a huge difference. And that's why probably many Sony users buy Sigma lenses for that. I would, with that price difference. And I was talking about the change in a genre or niche that OMDS has made in the recent years, is that it's concentrating on wildlife, macro, and outdoors and all that type of stuff. And if Sigma would make, let's say, like a 300mm f4 lens, or 40 to 150 f2.8 for micro four thirds, or even the 150 to 400 with half price, I bet they would sell a lot. They would sell huge amount, and that would probably hurt OMDS if they did that. But like I always forget his name, Yamaki said that it's not worth, it's going to cost so much to develop that lens, so it's not worth it. Then he also said, I hope that with the arrival of the new OM system cameras, demand will stabilize, but it's clearly tending to decrease for Sigma Micro Four Third lenses. But it looks like OM system is getting good results with their new cameras and lenses, so I'm hopeful that the demand for Micro Four Thirds will continue to exist. Yeah, of course, he's got nothing to, against any system. That's not the thing. Of course, we all, or at least I'm not against any system. I think the best system is the one that you're using and take the most out of it. But what he actually said is that OM system is doing well with their cameras and new lenses, and Sigma has no room right now in that ecosystem. That's what he says. And it is in line what I've already said about how expensive it is to manufacture lenses and all that. But of course, if we think the business side, Sigma is a business and they want to make profit. And there might be the reasons that I said that they're not making. It could be those. Or it could be that they genuinely do not believe in Micro Four Thirds future. But if we read what he actually said, that's what he did not say. On the contrary. So I think the reasons are the ones that I made. So it's a wise business decision not to make Micro Four Third lenses because they don't have any room there. Simple as that. I've said many times that Micro Four Third system's future looks a lot brighter than it did 2 years ago. And the reason is that there's been a lot of good gear released in recent years or past 2 years. We have new cameras from OMDS, and the latest one was a lens, a 90mm macro, which is a great macro lens and fits perfectly to OMDS's strategy. Macro photography is one of the niches that they want to target. And then if we look at Panasonic, for example, GH6 is a marvelous video camera, probably the best video camera in Micro Four Thirds world, and might be a better video camera than many full frame cameras or APS-C cameras, because it's not about the sensor size, it's about the features and all that. And now that they have upgraded S5 with new AF, and if they tickle down those features to, let's say, like G9 Mark II or the GH6 Mark II or GH7 or whatever that will call, that will make a stunning cameras. So in that sense, I believe that Micro Four Thirds has a bright future, despite or even though Sigma don't want to make any lenses for that, which is of course a pity because Sigma makes some good glass. But what do you think? What do you think that Sigma's leader Yamaki said? What do you think? What did he mean? Other than they are not making lenses for Micro Four Thirds, but what are the reasons? What do you think? But hey, thanks for watching and bye for now. And let's turn it off.